Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Unshackled, where you learn to speak English with confidence. Today, we're diving into real-life conversations. Not textbook dialogues, not robotic scripts, but the way people actually talk in everyday situations. By the end of this lesson, you'll feel more confident handling real conversations, not just practicing English in your head. And the best part? We'll do it step by step, with simple, useful phrases you can use right away. We'll master 3 practical, real-world scenarios that you will almost certainly encounter. First, we'll walk through the process of returning an item to a store, a situation that can be tricky, but is simple with the right words. Next, we'll tackle something many learners fear: making a simple phone call to book a table at a restaurant. And finally, we'll explore a key social skill: how to give and receive a compliment gracefully, turning a simple observation into a warm connection. For each of these scenarios, we will follow a proven 3-step method. First, we'll prepare by learning 5 essential phrases. Then, you'll hear them used in a natural, real-life dialogue. And finally, we will analyze that conversation together, so you understand exactly why it works. If you're ready to build real, practical confidence, let's begin. Our first scenario is one that combines problem-solving and specific vocabulary. Returning something you bought. It's a normal part of life, and knowing these phrases will make it stress-free. Let's prepare with the essential language. Phrase preview. The first phrase is how you start. I'd like to return this. It's polite, clear, and immediately explains your purpose. For example, Hi, I'd like to return this sweater. Next is the question you will almost always hear from the clerk. Do you have the receipt? The receipt is the proof of purchase, so always be ready for this question. The third phrase is for explaining the reason for the return. A very common and simple reason is, it didn't fit properly. This works for clothes, shoes, or any item that is the wrong size. After you explain, the clerk might offer you a choice with this question: would you prefer a refund or store credit? A refund means you get your money back. Store credit means you get a voucher to spend in that store later. It's important to understand the difference. And our final phrase is what the clerk will say when giving you a refund. I'll just put that back on your card. This confirms that the money is being returned to your credit or debit card. Now that we have our phrases, let's listen to a conversation between a customer, Clara, and a store clerk. Clerk: Hi there, how can I help you? Clara: Hi, I'd like to return this pair of jeans, please. Clerk: Of course. Do you have the receipt? Clara: Yes, right here. Clerk: Great, thanks. May I ask what was wrong with them? Clara: They just didn't fit properly. They were a bit too tight. Clerk: I understand. No problem at all. They are unworn, and the tags are still on, so that's perfect. Now, would you prefer a refund or store credit? Clara: A refund, please. Clerk: You got it. I see you paid with Visa. I'll just put that back on your card. It might take 2 to 3 business days to appear on your statement. Clara: That's fine. Clerk: All right, you're all set. Here is your copy of the return receipt. Clara: Great. Thanks so much for your help. Clerk: You're very welcome. Have a good day. That was a perfect example of a smooth and successful return. Let's analyze it. First, notice that Clara was prepared. She had the item in its original condition and her receipt ready. This makes the process much faster. Her opening line was polite and direct. The clerk was professional and guided the conversation with clear questions. When the clerk asked for the reason, Clara's answer, "It didn't fit properly," was simple and sufficient. You don't need to give a long, complicated story. The most important part of the interaction was the clerk's question about a refund or store credit. Clara knew she wanted her money back and stated it clearly. This is a key moment where understanding the vocabulary is crucial to getting the outcome you want. The conversation shows us that this situation is a process. If you follow the steps and use these key phrases, it's not a confrontation. It's just a simple transaction. We all have a story about returning something, whether it was easy or difficult. What about you? Have you ever felt nervous or frustrated during a return? Share a little bit of your experience in the comments below. Reading each other's stories is a powerful way to help us all feel more confident together. Let's move on to our next scenario: making a phone call. This is a skill that requires you to listen carefully without any visual cues. Our goal is to make a dinner reservation. Mastering this will open up a world of possibilities. Let's learn the key phrases. Phrase preview. You start the call with your goal. "I'd like to make a reservation, please." Once the restaurant staff knows what you want, they will guide you through the process. Next, be prepared to answer this question. For what day and time? Have this information ready before you call. For example, for this Friday at 7 p.m., the next piece of information they'll need is the size of your group. They will ask, how many people will be in your party? Party, in this context, simply means your group of people. You can answer, a party of 4. Once the details are set, they will need to connect the reservation to you. They'll ask, can I get a name for the booking? You simply give them your first or last name. And finally, to confirm everything is set, you will hear, all right, we'll see you then. This signals the successful end of the call. Now, let's listen to a phone call between Daniel and a restaurant host. Host: Good evening, the Harbor Grill. How can I help you? Daniel: Hello, I'd like to make a reservation, please. Host: Of course. For what day and time? Daniel: For this Saturday evening, around 8 p.m. Host: Okay, let me check for you. Saturday at 8 Road? Yes, we have a table available then. How many people will be in your party? Daniel: There will be 2 of us. Host: Perfect. A table for 2 on Saturday at 8 Utes. Can I get a name for the booking? Daniel: Yes, the name is Daniel. Host: Okay, Daniel, your reservation is confirmed. We look forward to seeing you. Daniel: Great. Thank you very much. Host: You're welcome. Goodbye. That was a perfect, efficient phone call. Let's break it down. The most important element here is clarity. Daniel spoke clearly and had all his information ready: the day, the time, and the number of people. On the phone, you can't rely on gestures, so your words have to do all the work. The host led the conversation with a series of direct questions, following a logical script. This is very common for service calls. Your job as the caller is simply to answer these questions clearly. Notice the structure. State your purpose. Provide the day and time. Provide the number of people. Provide your name. Confirm. Every reservation call will follow this pattern. By knowing the pattern, you can anticipate the questions before they are even asked. This removes the fear and uncertainty from the conversation. The key takeaway is that phone calls like this are a predictable process. Learn the process and you'll master the call. For our final scenario, let's focus on a social skill that builds connections: giving and receiving compliments. A good compliment can make someone's day, and knowing how to respond gracefully is just as important. Phrase preview. A simple and effective way to give a compliment is, "I really like your," followed by the item. For example, "I really like your scarf." It's specific and sincere. When you receive a compliment, a warm and polite response is, "That's so kind of you to say." It shows appreciation for the person's words, not just the compliment itself. Often, the person giving the compliment will want to continue the conversation. A great follow-up question is, "Where did you get it?" This shows genuine interest beyond the initial comment. To add more warmth to your compliment, you can use this phrase, "It really suits you." This means the item looks particularly good on that person, matching their style or personality. And finally, a lovely way to show the impact of a compliment is to say, "You made my day." This tells the person that their kind words had a genuinely positive effect on you. Now, let's listen to a short interaction between two colleagues, Anna and Liam, near the office coffee machine. Anna: "Morning, Liam. That's a great jacket." Liam: "Oh, thanks, Anna. That's so kind of you to say." Anna: "I'm serious. The color is fantastic. It really suits you." Liam: "Well, you made my day. I wasn't sure about it when I bought it, so that's nice to hear." Anna: "I love it. Where did you get it? I've been looking for one like that for my brother." Liam: "I actually found it at a small vintage shop downtown called Second Act. It was a lucky find." Anna: "Oh, I've never heard of it. I'll have to check it out." Liam: "You should. Anyway, I should get back to my desk. Thanks again for the compliment." Anna: "Anytime. Have a good one." This was a short but powerful social interaction. Let's analyze it. Anna's compliment was specific. She mentioned the jacket and its color. Specific compliments feel much more genuine than vague ones like, "You look nice." Liam's response was perfect. He didn't just say thanks. He said, "That's so kind of you to say." And later, "You made my day." He accepted the compliment gracefully and affirmed the person who gave it, which is a very high-level social skill. He showed that her words had a positive impact. Notice how Anna kept the conversation going by asking a follow-up question. "Where did you get it?" This is the key to turning a compliment from a single statement into a real conversation. It shows you are interested in the person, not just their jacket. This interaction teaches us that compliments are about connection. The goal isn't just to say something nice, it's to create a small moment of positive human interaction. Be specific, be sincere, and when you receive a compliment, accept it with warmth. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. Today, we walked through 3 very different, very real conversations. handling a return, booking a table over the phone, and sharing a compliment. Each scenario required different vocabulary, but they all shared a common foundation: clarity, politeness, and preparation. Knowing the right phrases beforehand is like having a map. It doesn't stop the journey from happening, but it gives you the confidence to know which way to go. The goal is not to sound like a perfect robot. It's to feel confident enough to handle the real, unscripted moments of daily life. The phrases you learned today are your starting point. Use them as tools to build your own natural way of speaking. Thank you for investing this time in your English journey. Your commitment to learning is the most important ingredient for success. If you found this lesson helpful, consider subscribing to be notified of future episodes. And feel free to leave a comment sharing which real-life situations you'd like to practice next. Until then, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember that every conversation is another step forward. This is English Unshackled. Thank you for being here.